Okay, so the first question says, what decimal represents the amount of this shape that is shaded in? So when I look at this shape, I think about fractions first, because usually when you look at this, you're thinking of fractions. I see 5 equally sized shapes, so I know that my denominator is 5, and then 2 of them are shaded in. So 2/5 is the fraction that represents this shape. Now my job is to turn 2/5 into a decimal. There are a bunch of different ways you can do this. I'm going to do the long division way, where I remember that 2/5 is the same thing as 2 divided by 5. So 5 goes into 2 0 times. Now I have to make this a decimal so I can keep going. 5 goes into 20 4 times, because 4 times 5 is 20. So 0.4 is the decimal that represents this amount of shading. I stopped at 0.4 because 5 goes into 20 perfectly evenly. So, whoops, why isn't this working? 0.4 is the decimal that represents that shape. Okay, this one says, which is bigger, 7/9 or 0.8? Explain how you know. Well, again, there are a bunch of different ways I can do this. I'm going to do kind of the same thing I just did, and I'm going to convert 7/9 into a decimal so I can compare these more easily. Comparing two decimals is pretty easy. So to convert 7/9 into a decimal, I'm going to do 7 divided by 9. I know it's going to be a decimal, so I'm going to add some zeros preemptively. 9 goes into 7 0 times. 9 goes into 70. Let's see, I think 7 times. 7 times. 7 times 9 is 63. 70 minus 63 is 7. Bring down another 0. 9 goes into 70 7 times. And notice how I've been putting 9 into 70 twice in a row. It's going to keep going literally into infinity. So the decimal version of 7/9 is 0.7 repeating. Now, which is bigger, 0.8 or 0.7 repeating? They're pretty close, but 0.8 is bigger because 7/9 is, I'm going to use our word equivalent, is equivalent to 0.7777 repeating, which is smaller than 0.8. All right, which fraction is equivalent to 0.12? I know that 0.12 is the same thing as 12 hundredths. 12 hundredths, because there is a 2 in the hundredths place, which is 2 hundredths, plus a 1 in the tenths place, which is 1/10. 1/10 is the same thing as 10 hundredths. So 10 plus 2 equals 12 hundredths. Now I need to reduce this or simplify it because this is not the simplest form. I know that 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. Still not the simplest form. I can divide by 2 again. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 50 divided by 2 is 25. So 3/25 is the correct answer. Last one, which decimal is equivalent to 8/11? We're going to do that long division again. I'm going to talk through it very quickly because we've already done it twice. But 11 goes into 8 0 times, into 87 times. 7 times 11 is 77. You've got a 3 left over, bring down to 0. 11 goes into 32 times. 22. We're going to get that 8 again. And if we kept going, this would just be 72727272 forever. It's another repeating decimal. So this is the correct answer. All right, that's all of that. If you're still confused, head back to the lesson and try a few more practices or learns.